Helldivers 2 is the best horde shooter released in years, man. I'm telling you. If you don't believe me, go look at Steam charts right now. And after that, you'll believe me because you'll see how great the numbers are. Anyway, many smaller devs have been just making games that have been getting so popular, like so fast, like weeks. Like Power World. Power World took like what, 2 weeks and got so popular. Anyway, the point is, these games have like no marketing at all, and they're still dominating the Steam page in comparison to AAA, who's just keep making boring and formulaic fucking games that no one likes. Anyway, Helldivers 2 is one of those smaller developer games that not only became the most played game on Steam, but it's also the best selling game on Steam and the PS5. And even almost 2 months after release, the player base is still active and consistent. It's crazy. So, how did Helldivers skyrocket to popularity with no marketing at all? Why is Helldivers thriving with success while AAA studios continue to struggle? And finally, has Helldivers 2 perfected live service? Welcome to Helldivers. Helldivers 2 is a game where you and your friends go to random ass planets to kill bugs. And then you could blow up the world. Or you could go up against the fucking Terminator and also blow up the world. What do you know? Anyway, Helldivers 2 is literally if you made Starship Troopers a game, added a Terminator, and then just used Left 4 Dead mechanics. And then there you go, you get Helldivers. Anyway, like, you could tell that Arrowhead worked their fucking asses off to make this game because apparently development took so long that the game engine they used was discontinued. So they had to modify it while making the game, which is just crazy the amount of dedication for this project. It definitely paid off though. Like, look at the numbers. Anyway, Helldivers 2 even has a story, so, well, let me get into it. The game takes place in like a utopian kind of a world called Super Earth. It's like our Earth, but think of our Earth if everything was run by the government and owned by the government, and you had to become a soldier just to get basic human rights. So you definitely see the Starship Troopers references here, and it's like our government. Anyway, everyone on Super Earth is like way more patriotic than people in America. Like, it's a bit excessive at this point, but is that a problem? No. What I mean by that is the dialogue the Helldivers say. It's fucking hilarious. Also, did I mention that the game is set in 2084? That is crazy because you see the technology they have in the game, and this is 60 years away from us. I mean, I guess we might be able to have it by then, but who the fuck knows? Like, look what they have. They have full armed spaceships, brand new guns. Like, dude, they have their own solar system and a bunch of planets under their control as well. I don't know if we're getting that far in 60 years. Let's be honest. Like, goddamn. Anyway, the story of Helldivers 2 is really cool. It's kind of just the backstory of the enemies. So, first, the bugs. So, it all really started when we were searching for resources, and then we found a planet with giant alien bugs. Humanity being the greedy assholes we are, we figured out that these giant bugs produced really good oil. This oil was so good it powers all of our ships and everything. Anyway, we then enslaved every bug on the planet to get that oil continuously until they started having a revolution and they started taking our planets and killing every human they could see. And now they're trying to conquer every planet until they reach us. So that's why us Helldivers are here to stop. Now for the automatons. These fuckheads are a descendant from a faction called the Cyborg. These guys are from the first game, and they were destroying cities upon cities on Super Earth because they got mad over the extreme government control that Super Earth had. So we also enslaved them and banished them to a planet called Cyberston. a planet actually in Helldivers 2, by the way. But the cyborgs apparently said the automatons were going to go free them. And if they did, we would have fucking automatons and their cousins to deal with on Malevolent Creek. Now, I'm going to bet $20 you guys are saying this. He's pulling this all out of his ass and he has no proof. But I can back this up. So look, in the original Helldivers game, there is actually a planet called Cyberstan, and it's also in Helldivers 2. So if I can just go right to it right here, look at this. Cyberstan, right here. You can also see how the robots continue to push north, and recently we've wiped them out completely, and look where they showed up. They showed up right on Cyberstan. Anyway, now that I showed you all this, theorist bit is over. On to gameplay. You all are probably wondering, is the gameplay fun? Is it any good? The answer for both of those questions is yes. Here's why. First of all, I don't know what wouldn't be fun about going to random planets and shooting a bunch of bugs. Nothing. Nothing is that fun. It's very fun. Just get a group of friends or queue up in quick play, and if you're lucky in quick play, you'll get a lobby of voice chat. If you get people with voice chat, that is when the game truly shines. Like, it's just amazing. Anyway, in Helldivers 2, you have many things at your disposal to kill these bugs, like different guns, stratagems, and even yourself by just throwing yourself at your problems. Anyway, guns I use is like the Slugger, the Breaker, and the Liberator. There are way more, but I'm not going to list them here because that would take up the entire video. But anyway, I usually prefer shotguns because they do a lot of damage. I know assault rifles have way more ammo, but they do less damage. And I just like damage, and I like shotguns. Use whatever you want, though. Anyway, on to stratagems. There are a bunch of different classes of stratagems, such as support weapons, the Eagles, the orbital strikes, the minefields, and the sentries. My personal favorite class, the Eagles, because they're just airstrikes, such as my favorite stratagem in the entire game, the 500 kg bomb. Here's what it does. Yeah, it's just a nuke. It's amazing. It one-shots everything. It's just so good. Let's say there's a horde coming your way. If you summon up your 500 kg, keep the horde in range, congratulations, you've successfully taken one for the team and cleared a horde. My other main thing for bugs is at least maybe the orbital laser. This thing can only be used 3 times a mission, and you should only use them when things are getting really out of hand because it's a targeting laser that kills everything in the general fucking area. It one-shots everything, and yeah, those are my mains. But there are other good ones, such as the regular airstrike. It can do a lot of what the 500 kg could do, but between the two, it's just personal preference. The other stratagems I like to use for bots is the 380 HE barrage. This fucking thing has the accuracy of a child aiming with their eyes closed. It's horrible, but it does a fuck ton of damage. So, pretty much, if it hits something, they're unbelievably fucked. Alright, on to support weapons. For me, I'd say the main good ones are the arc thrower, the railgun, and the autocannon. But you can use the quasar cannon and anti-material rifle for bots. The quasar cannon's really good though, but I'm not talking about that right now. Anyway, first up, the railgun. It has heavy armor penetrating. It can kill those armored bugs such as chargers and bile titans. It has 2 modes, safe mode and unsafe. Safe mode is completely useless and it can't even penetrate armor. While unsafe mode is when the gun has its full potential. It can one-shot just about anything except for bugs with armor and bots with armor, but I'll get into those later. Anyway, the arc thrower. It's also kind of like the railgun. It's weaker, but it has infinite ammo and it can also break all ammo. There is a way to rapid fire the gun, but it takes a bit of practice. Pretty much, in some situations, the railgun's better, and in others, it's a better railgun, and in others, it's a worse railgun. So yeah, like a bile titan. The railgun's way better for those, because you could just snipe those bitches out of the sky. Anyway, now there's my favorite, the autocannon. This thing is like a fucking rapid-fire rocket launcher. It carried my ass in the early game, and if you played the game, it probably carried you too. This thing shoots explosive rounds and is amazing for crowd control and hordes. But don't shoot too close to you because you will instantly kill yourself if you do this thing. It's also fully automatic. So you can hold down and see all of your problems disappear. Now for the last category of stratagem that I'm going to talk about today, the sentries. I'm only going to list the good ones again. So first of all, we've got the autocannon sentry, the mortar, the rocket sentry, and the Gatling sentry. So these things are all good at their own thing, but personally I think the autocannon sentry is the best because now it has armor piercing, meaning it can kill Bile Titans, unlike the regular autocannon. It does a fuck ton of damage as well, also like the regular one. It's also fully automatic and can fire explosive rounds. Overall, I say it's the best sentry. But again, use what you want. My fair warning with every sentry, do not go in front of the barrel, because it will fuck you up and you will die. Just do not do it. Anyway, next up, the mortar sentry. It's exactly what it says it is. It locks onto enemies and shoots explosives into the sky. It always hits enemies as well, and if you're near a bug and one of your teammates has this placed, you're done for. So the solution there is to run the fuck away and hope the bug doesn't chase you. Anyway, this sentry is really good. I could say I could compare it to the autocannon sentry, but I just prefer it, the autocannon sentry. Yeah. Now for the rocket sentry. This thing is really good. It's exactly what it says it is. It shoots rockets. And, just warn your teammates before putting it down, because it could be a team-killing machine. So, yeah. Anyway, the point of explaining all this is to show how versatile everything is in the game. Every gun, every sentry, and every stratagem is better at something, so it really emphasizes on communicating with your team. For example, if you have a good lobby, people are talking and planning and all that, you can have one guy bring the 500 kg while another guy brings an airstrike and a third dude brings a fucking barrage or something. That way it's all diverse and you're able to take out just about anything as a team. Or, the alternative, my favorite thing to do, is to go fuck one, fuck all with your loadout, and so you can still be useful, which is just amazing. It's peak game design. That's what I love about the game. Anyway, so let's say your team is trying to be organized. You should probably play into it, but we all know that throwing yourself into your problems is the funnest. But you could also try to be organized once in a while. And if your team has diverse stratagems, well, you could counter most situations as long as you guys stick together and work as a team. Now for the actual gunplay. The guns feel really good. Nice recoil and probably my favorite no-scope aiming system in any game. It's just great. I can't really explain why though, you just genuinely need to play it for yourself. Anyway, back to guns. The type of guns there are is the ARs, the shotguns, and the semi-auto rifles. Shotguns have the most recoil, but also the most damage, and they have lower ammo. But the ARs have high ammo, lower damage, and lower recoil. So you'll be able to aim really well with these guns, or actually any guns, because recoil is kind of useless. I mean, unless it's an LMG on max RPM, then recoil is just fucking insane. Now, what I meant about all the situations this game can throw at you, I mean that it feels like one bug can make or break a mission. In this case, whatever is going on can be different because of one single fucking bug. It's crazy. I don't know how they do it. Here's an example. Let's say there's 4 chargers ravaging your entire team, right? 4 chargers, right then and there, 2 bile spewers show up. That makes everything completely different now because it went from something you could just shoot through to something you probably need to use a 500 kg on. For bots, it's literally always hell. And when a tank shows up, you're fucking done for. But that's a lot of the fun. See, you never know what's gonna show up next. In the game, there's something called a bug breach or a bot drop. For bugs, it's when one of them calls other bugs, and then it spawns a horde full of titans and full of chargers and more. They will not stop spawning until you kill every last one of the bugs. And for bots, a giant dropship is gonna come over to you and will drop a ton of bots. These things can vary from hulks, tanks, and more. So pretty much prioritize the bug with orange smoke coming from its mouth because it's calling a breach. And for bots, kill the one that's about to shoot a flare gun, or else you risk having this happen. You're probably thinking now, why should I play this game instead of something like Left 4 Dead? Well, I'll tell you. First of all, the game gives you self-defense nukes, which is just an up, right, down, down, down away. Another thing this game does better than other games is the different playstyles, either a strategy baby or fuck one, fuck all. Now first, the strategy baby. This is a player who takes the game very seriously and they don't want people fucking around just to have fun. They try to 100% every planet, do all the nests, get all the samples, all that. And yeah, they will even sometimes yell at you in voice chat for dying, which if someone does that and you're watching, you need to brighten up. Now for the fun playstyle, meaning you're not really taking the game too seriously, but you're taking it serious enough. So like if we fuck up tremendously, you're gonna call it out. In my opinion, the fuck one fuck all playstyle is the best with friends because it's just hilarious and the funniest shit that can happen if you're just fucking around in Helldivers with a group of. It's amazing. Like it's awesome. Anyway, the game offers some good gunplay compared to other Horde Shooter games. For example, the game's aiming system. It's so good. So is the gun feeling. The guns feel very nice to shoot and have a well-balanced recoil and balanced ammo. Personally, my favorite gun is the Slugger because it has high damage and high armor piercing. It's also a single-rounded shotgun. Sounds good, right? That's because it is. Anyway, some guns have single losing ammo, meaning while reloading you can shoot the gun as long as there's at least one bullet chambered. The downside of this gun is it takes longer to fully reload, but another advantage is you can't physically possibly waste bullets. Because other guns with full mags, not only do you need to wait for it to be done reloading before shooting, but you can also waste bullets if you're not paying attention. Another thing I think Helldivers 2 does very well is the versatility of everything in the game. Like I said before, the game's situations are handled very well because of the fact that one bug is completely able to change exactly what's going on and how to deal with it. It's not only enemies. Let's say you strafed away from your team and now you're going to go look for a nest and you're going to solo it, right? And then you find a Shrieker nest. Now, Shriekers are flying bugs that can fuck you in your ass real well. Because, first of all, they one-shot you and they fly. So it's really hard to shoot them down. And if there's a nest close to you, you could be looking at least 100 Shriekers. And you're definitely going to need a team for this because they keep one-shotting you. It's another case of rapid changing situations. Helldivers 2 is a game that got so popular in such a short amount of time. The game's servers even got fucked up because of the game not even meant to get this popular. So this happened for multiple reasons. First of all, the game is genuinely fun, and you could really tell a lot of passion went into the game because of fun little things the developers added, like a loading screen that says "Please wait democratically." And much like other small developers these days, they focus on making an actual fun game that people can enjoy, rather than having the mindset of how much money can we make with the least amount of effort as possible. That most AAA studios keep ingraining into the mind of their programmers. Anyway, the point is, Helldivers 2 is a game which is live service, but it's done right. What do I mean? I mean the devs had the intention to make the game fun. Did I mention there's a very low supply of games like this nowadays? It's sad, really. These game devs keep putting fucking money in front of everything else, or they just make the blandest game possible and they slap the $70 price tag on it. And some notable examples: Skull and Bones, the Suicide Squad, and the new Battlefront collection. Like, it's so common nowadays. And the main reasons this game got so popular is because it's fun. The devs actually cared about it and they put passion into the game. So it isn't a soulless cash grab and a shell of a game. So it's a real breath of fresh air when we get games like this, where the moral of the game is to have fun, and had a ton of passion put into the game, and it definitely paid off. Immersion and design is one of Helldivers 2's best parts. Down to the planets, down to the enemies, down to the missions, everything in the game is super well designed. So let me start with enemy design. Overall, the enemy design is good in my opinion because, look, every bigger enemy has their own weakness, their own strengths, and their own way to counter. That's what I really like about the game. Its design makes it look like it's all chaos, which a lot of the time it honestly is. But when you exploit all the weaknesses and take out the big enemies, it can change the entire situation. Crazy, right? I mean, it's like I said before, one bug can make or break an entire mission. It's just peak game design. I don't know what else to tell you. Anyway, the game's enemies are pretty well designed because of what I explained earlier, but also because how the bugs may seem unstoppable, but all you need to know is how to exploit their weakness. Or maybe a couple 500 KGs. Especially on Helldive difficulty, knowing how to kill and where to shoot is not going to be enough in Helldive difficulty because it's honestly just unbalanced. The sheer amount of enemies, it's crazy. Speaking of difficulty, let's get into it. Helldivers 2 handles difficulty very well in my opinion. The way it makes you feel like you're about to get fucked up on a higher difficulty is insane. The simple change of just more bugs can make the most basic shit either funny as hell or it can make you look like a goddamn hero. Here's a couple of clips. Anyway, Helldivers 2 on Helldive difficulty really feels like hell. I know, who would have thought? It's almost like it's in the name or something. Anyway, but for real, they handle difficulty very well. It's just great. It's very fun as well. The game's difficulty is honestly just adding more enemies and new enemy types. I don't know why it feels as good as it does, but it's just amazing. I don't know why. But I also bet you wouldn't believe it if I said people can zero death a Helldive mission. Now, I know there's probably going to be people in my comment section saying that, oh, I solo and zero death Helldive missions on the daily with my eyes closed. And to those people, if you're watching, I will kindly tell you to shut the fuck up. Anyway, that means, first of all, that's some great game design. Anyway, playing on Helldive difficulty, the game definitely makes you feel that this is a spot that you should not be at. Like, it's just awesome. The difficulty isn't unfair or anything, it's pretty hard, but it's possible. Like, the real thing they do with difficulty is they might crowd you with a ton of enemies, right? But you're also unbelievably well equipped to deal with it. Now, how about the mission design? It's good. Really good. Overall, I think every mission is good in my opinion, except for probably the worst civilian rescue mission I've ever seen in the game. Like, really. These fucking civilians have no problem running straight into an army of automatons or just an enemy fire, even in front of tanks, the list goes on. But the point is, the civilians' AI needs some work. They just make a straight line all the way up to the shuttle, which is the exit point by the way. So if a bot or a bugs breaks that path, the civilians will happily run straight on over to them and die. And the penalty for civilian deaths is $50 each, so your loot is going to get cut from the mission because of civilian deaths. Personally, I do think the penalty got reduced because recently I played a mission and around 15 civilians died and I only lost $50. I don't know if it has always been like that or not. Anyway, other than that civilian mission, the missions are really good. So here are some of my top 3 favorite missions. First up, the Launch ICBM mission, where you launch a nuke to kill a ton of bugs or bots. Anyway, pretty much what you have to do is launch a nuke, but this nuke is either fucked up on fuel or fucked up on power, so you need to restore it. But with even higher difficulties, it will add on to the mission. I once had an ICBM mission on Helldive. I had to coordinate the bomb, pump the fuel, and reactivate the power, and then on top of all that, I had to actually go to the bomb and launch it. Yeah, anyway, that's the hell I had to go. Yeah, I don't recommend it at all. So, but anyway, like, another mission I like to do is the, egg destroying mission, because it's really easy and difficulties don't really add more shit to it, except for just more nests to fuck up. And yeah, that's it. That's about it for the egg mission, man. By top 3 missions, I meant top 2 missions. I don't know why I said that, I just felt like it. Anyway, I'm done talking to you about missions. The point of this was really just to show you how good the game design is. And yeah, I think I did alright. But if you really want to see how good the game design is, just go play the game for yourself. Like, it's so cool. The game clearly does have a big emphasis on teamwork and a little bit of risk and reward here and there. But by this I mean, first of all, it's a fucking co-op game. God damn. Anyway, the game also has other concepts, but these are the main ones because it's involved in most situations. Like, for example, do you want to gamble and destroy all nests for money, or no? Another one, do you want to stick around for more samples or not? First of all, the samples are a more common situation for the risk and reward. For teamwork, it would be, are we going to split up and take on outposts separately, or do we stick together for more firepower? Usually if you play Helldive, like me, you would stick together because solo on Helldive does not go well. Another situation involving teamwork happens right as you join the lobby. It's if your teammates are using voice chat or not. Now this determines, are we actually going to be communicating as a team? And are we going to have fun? If you don't have a team using voice chat, then there could be problems, which I'll get into right now. These are definitely flaws with teamwork in Helldivers 2 because when your team is not using voice chat, they're either keyboard warriors or it's going to completely ruin teamwork for the entire match. Because people not using voice chat are probably silent. But that's okay, sometimes at least, because sometimes they'll know what they're doing. But then there are the fucking idiots. And I'm calling them idiots because these guys usually stay silent, completely silent, and then they do things like throwing an airstrike on top of you, shooting an enemy and not bothering to aim at it, killing both the enemy and the diver at the same time. Another thing they most likely will do, they'll only do the main objective. So if you want to Helldive 100% and you have someone like this on your team, yeah, good luck. One more thing they do is they immediately go into the extraction shuttle the second it lands, giving every diver in the game to get more loot a 20-second cooldown. And it also makes me and a lot of other people very, very mad. Now I'm going to tell you when teamwork actually works. For example, first of all, you'll get a full squad with voice chat. You don't need a squad full of voice chat people, but it just makes talking with your team easier. Once you have a good team, you can also specify loadouts and decide an actual game plan. Now personally, I don't do this, and I did make fun of people who did it earlier, but like I also said earlier, it could be good fun. When you have a team actually working together, you should split up into groups of two, because then you have two people that know what they're doing to go do side objective like nests and shit, you know? And again, teamwork actually works because you can just talk with your team and be chill with them, but also you have people to fuck around assuming they can take an actual joke, because yes, that happens in the game where people use voice chat and they're still taking the game unbelievably seriously instead of having good fun and screaming for democracy and charging headfirst into their problems. And if you have a squad with all voice chat people that are just fun to play, you're gonna have a great time. A amazing time, actually. Now, about the risk and reward aspect of the game, pretty much it's just capitalism incarnate. You do more, you get more. But doing more ain't that simple because you still need to make sure you have enough reinforces for the main objective or side objectives. So pretty much, you're risking everyone dying for more stuff. Maybe it's more samples. Maybe a full 100% missions by clearing all outposts and doing all side objectives. And dude, if you want to do that on Helldive difficulty, you will get paid big time. The thing is, Helldivers 2 does the risk and reward really well because, again, it can change an entire mission in the blink of an eye. It's crazy. And great game design. But I talked about that earlier, so fuck it. Another thing about risk and reward in Helldivers 2 is it can dictate how long you stay on the planet, or even if you leave the planet with all your loot. So let's say we try and destroy every nest on the map, but then you fuck up and lose every single one of your hard-earned samples, and you have no more reinforces. Yeah, you're screwed. And then another thing about samples, what if we try and get all the samples but then no one extracts? Again, you will lose all of your samples. Now you're probably also asking, why are samples important? Well, you can get ship upgrades, which in turn upgrades stratagems. So they're very important and you want some runs to grind for them. The risk and reward in Helldivers 2 really comes down to one simple question. Do we want to stay longer and risk losing everything, or leave now when we have a chance? It really depends on how many reinforces you have left. Let's say you have 10 left with one outpost, right? You should probably go for the outpost, unless it's a really heavy outpost, because especially when you call in the extraction, you're going to want a lot of reinforcers because then hordes of enemies are going to be showing up fucking everywhere while you wait for the extraction. And because of Pelican 1 being the slow piece of ass he is, you can also wait 4 minutes before the extraction comes. That is crazy. Usually it's 1 minute and 30 seconds, but it can also be 4 fucking minutes. That is crazy. Genuinely insane. You don't want that happening. I'm telling you right now, you do not want that happening. I once had a mission on Malevolent Creek with a 4 minute. Yeah, we had all our reinforcers, by the way. We got wiped out. We did not extract. I'm not kidding. Now I'm going to tell you why Helldivers 2 has the best monetization in any live service game. You probably know this by now, but yes, Helldivers 2 does have microtransactions. But it's not made in the scummiest way possible. I'm definitely looking at you, Activision Blizzard. Anyway, the game's monetization is just what it should be. Not some scam that makes you need to spend more money than the thing you're trying to buy is worth. It's just, if you want to buy the new war bond, here you go, 1,000 super credits, which is just how you get war bonds, by the way. It's just all there. The game handles monetization how all games should handle it. Yet again, I'm pointing at you, Activision Blizzard. So many AAA game devs have you spend more money than the value you're getting, and it's just honestly sad. But not this game though, thankfully. If you decide to spend money, you will get exactly the value that you paid for. I genuinely don't believe it that I can say this, but these days, game companies have just lost it with unremarkable greed. It's just evil. And fucking nuts that this is the point we've reached with game development. That these people are now only focusing on money and nothing else. Or they're just gonna make broken and unplayable games such as the day before. But anyway, the way game devs monetize their games these days just sucks. Now, I did just say how good Helldivers 2 handles monetizations. But now you're probably saying, if this idiot is talking so much about monetization, the game is probably 100% like pay to win, right? Wrong! The game is not pay to win at all. Literally everything you could pay for, you could get for free, just by playing the game. Super credits can be obtained by going to look for this golden beacon in bunkers, but it's not guaranteed though. The point is, the game is far from pay to win. Nothing is behind a paywall. Spending money is just to make progress go faster, but usually you will get 1,000 super credits without even noticing. So no, the game is not pay to win whatsoever. That's another great thing about the game, because yet again AAA devs keep making their games unbelievably pay to win. To think of a game like Elden Ring, right? If Ubisoft made that game, right? Half the weapons would probably be placed under a paywall, which is just greed at this point. There's nothing else to say about it. Ubisoft and other game devs like it lock so much content behind paywalls, it's kind of depressing. But the point is, the game is not pay to win because of the fact that you can literally get everything that is paid for free. This is what makes Helldivers 2 better than other AAA game devs. First of all, Helldivers 2 is a game where the devs actually put a ton of fucking passion and had the motive of making a fun game, right? I know, it's crazy that I can even say this, but most game devs can't even do that when making their games, which leads to either fucking cash grabs or downright unplayable games under the $70 price tag. Man, I swear, a game with the $70 price tag is gonna be a bad game these days because of what the games we've seen in 2024 just being broken messes or just pay to win. Anyway, the reason Helldivers 2 is doing so good is because of the actual intent of making a fun game. Like, dude, the Superstore is in-universe for this fucking game. There are just random reviews for each armor and each helmet in the Superstore. They didn't need to add this, but they did. Another fun little thing in the game, such as the loading screen, please wait democratically. The game is doing so good because there is such a huge shortage of actual fun and playable games. Like I said before, the $70 price tag is just a genuine signature that this is going to be a shit game. The community of Helldivers 2 is truly one to be admired. Like really, some of the stuff this community does is just amazing, such as literally ganging up on a guy team killing his entire squad, also ganging up on a hacker that's been releasing unreleased content, shit like that. But recently we have just completely wiped out the automatons. They have no more planets, only the bugs remain. And now the community suspects that when the Illuminant makes its return, maybe the Hive Lords are going to come back, and I don't know, but for some reason it feels like the automatons were fucked up too easily. And we thought, correctly. A couple days ago, the automatons just came back and took 8 different planets instantly. Now, the Helldivers community was also gang up on one man who decided to team kill his entire squad right before going into the extraction. This man is also called an asshole, and the Helldivers community did not take too kindly to this. After that, other people started doing it too, so it meant that so many more lobbies would have the problem of someone being an actual piece of shit and just team killing for no reason. The problem does happen to this day, but it's not as bad as a couple weeks ago. Another thing that happened with the community is 2 weeks ago, there was apparently a hacker spawning in unreleased content into people's lobbies. That's just crazy. First of all, how the fuck is he doing this? Second of all, who is this guy? And well, people thought he might be Joel, and we'll get back to who that is in a minute, but the point is, there was a guy spawning unreleased content in the game, such as cars and fucking mechs. Sadly, I couldn't find a clip of this, but it probably exists somewhere, and you've probably seen it already. But yeah, and the devs of Arrowhead are also doing shit like giving us a major order to get new content. The major order was to get mechs for us, and if we lost, the automatons would get mechs. And well, we lost. Not only are the game devs not above delaying content if we fail major orders, but they also screw around with the community. Like, also, the devs sometimes add things in the updates that aren't in the patch notes, so they let players find it and then share it online. I don't know why they do it, but it's just fucking awesome. Now, Joel is a man who has the title called the Game Master of Helldivers 2. He apparently also takes his job very seriously and will wake up in the middle of the night to either give the robots or bugs reinforcements to make sure that players don't liberate anything too early. This man is literally determines what enemies go where and how hard planets are. This is how Malevolent Creek got so popular, because it was modified to literally have the most bots and hardest bots in any planet. This man has an unbelievable amount of power in Helldivers 2, and Arrowhead also confirms that he will get even more power in the future. This is why when your mission is going unbelievably horrible, you could probably hear a player blaming Joel as a joke, which is why I think Joke is the game master of real life also, and just spawns car accidents in the middle of rush hour. Helldivers 2 is a game that not only could be, dare I say it, Game of the Year, but it's also what every live service game should be. Again, look at the AAA attempts of a live service. The perfect example is Suicide Squad compared to Helldivers. And then with the amazing community that Helldivers 2 has, it's honestly also just a fun fucking game. And Helldivers 2 puts players in front of money in terms of priorities, unlike most games these days. But I really do think Helldivers 2 has perfected live service because of a couple of things. First of all, the game isn't a single player game turned into live service, unlike Suicide Squad. And the game is just fun. The only online is what makes the game. While running solo is fun, but the game wouldn't be the same if there was a single player mode. Although people still do try and make one with private matchmaking, but the sense of community in the game and the game itself would not have the amount of players it does if it wasn't live service. That's what all live service games should aim for. It's to try and make it so the game can't be anything other than live service. But sadly, we do have very little developers that at least try. But anyway, Helldivers 2 has the potential to be Game of the Year because first of all, it's actually being playable because some devs can't even be bothered to make their games actually work. It's not scummy with microtransactions either. The gameplay is amazingly fun, and most importantly, it's a live service game done right. Anyway, that's about it. Have a good rest of your day, boys, and yeah. See ya!